You're listening to Lifted You Weight Loss with Annie Jensen, episode number 13. One last look at your toolkit. Hello, darling. I'm Annie, and I'm here to connect with you. I know we understand each other. We show up, we live hard, and you and I do all of it, carrying the same burden. But here is the most beautiful truth that I've learned over years of struggling with my weight. We do not have to live with this burden. So come with me because you are not alone in this. I'm ready to share everything. My story, my friendship, and every piece of value I've gathered along the way. My purpose is to lift you as you move forward on your own path to light, loving, and lasting weight loss, and build something that finally works for you. Darling, there is a life waiting for you on the other side of this process. So let's ease this burden. Let's build what's already within you. Together we'll create a lighter, lifted you. Oh, hey, welcome back and happy Lifted You Day. I'm so happy you pressed play today so we can spend a little time together. We are finishing our layer of practical wisdom today. We are just about finished with layer 3 and just about ready to move on to layer 4. And I wanted to share one thing with you today before we start today's episode and then move on to layer 4 next week. It's something that I didn't really expect, but that actually makes perfect sense. So as I have structured and put these first 12 episodes together for you, I've tried to just reach my arms out behind me as far as they would go and then scoop up everything that I have learned about this area of my life, about weight loss, about all of this, and just organize and present it to you in a way that hopefully helps you to see yourself and weight loss in a different way, in a lighter way. And believe me, I know that it is not perfect. There are things that I want to tweak every single week, but I can't do that after the fact because you would get too confused and it would literally take me years. So I just do my best to put my best brain and heart content out there. And I found that what that has done for me is I've been able to look back on my life and look at my life today with even more clarity. As I've gone through and organized and presented all of this, it has worked so much for me. So I wanted to thank you for that because that wouldn't have happened without you. And so experiencing this fresh clarity and this fresh perspective and it helping me make better choices in my life has been encouraging for me because that is exactly my hope for you. And honestly, it makes me wonder what I'm not seeing clearly right now in my life. I know there are things, but at least now we know that clarity and movement are always the goal. As I mentioned last week and several times, for so long, I didn't realize that I was living in a fog. I didn't know I was so stuck living in heavy feelings and heavy thoughts. But today we know that wherever we are struggling to make progress, both inside and outside of weight loss, it means we need to see our life a little bit more clearly, see our situation a little bit more clearly, and create some movement in that area. Seeing clearly and moving forward is what we always need to be doing. Just like your favorite animal, whatever animal that is, you just think of yourself thinking like that animal, moving as your doer, clear, undeterred, undistracted, completely future focused without the weight of what they have made their past experiences mean to them. Now, I never want to be insensitive to anything that you may have experienced in the past. I know the past is significant and I will never discount it. I just don't want it to hold us back, especially in areas where we can let go. The goal and something that we're going to learn is how to, like I've mentioned, gather the value and leave the rest behind. I've experienced the lift when I've let go of the heavy from the past. And thank goodness that even though our doer may not be as clear and focused and undeterred as a dolphin, we have these incredible human brains, which I would choose every single time. Humans love deeply and process and plan and work for things and adapt, and we acquire knowledge so incredibly. And that brings me to today's episode. You have spent your entire lifetime learning. You have acquired knowledge, which has evolved into wisdom. You have insight and value to offer, and it is 100% unique to you because you have gained it through your personal precious experience. You've learned it through everything: school, relationships, jobs, struggles, poor choices, good choices, experiences you had zero control over. Your brain is a goldmine of precious, unique information. And every day, as we're still learning, we get to employ another precious human gift, and that is the gift of choice. Every day, we make choices with our knowledge that we have acquired. And we know that those choices shape who we are and who we may or may not become. Practical wisdom is what connects your knowledge and insight to those everyday choices. And that's why we've spent a few weeks focusing on some tools and skills and ways to apply our knowledge and cross that bridge from knowing into doing. The layer of practical wisdom is what helps your doer know exactly what to do next, or has a few ideas of what to do that could work for her and how to keep going. And today is simple. We have spent the last 2 months or so learning so much. So I thought it would be fun today to take a nice refreshing dip into a cool pool of soft work that we've mostly already talked about. One thing I would just love for you to take with you from this layer of practical wisdom is your personal little weight loss toolkit. Okay, will you even pick colors for it? What are your 2 favorite combinations of colors? Mine is yellow and pink every time. So my little weight loss toolkit over here that I'm picking up in my right hand is yellow and pink. Now we've learned that on the inside are the 4 skill sets of weight loss. Whatever skill works for you, whatever skill you've learned, anything you haven't learned, anything you need will nicely fit into one of these 4 skill sets. And again, they are the ability to think clearly and to see clearly, see a situation clearly, to respond intentionally in your mind, which can also be described as choosing, and then moving forward in the direction that will take you closer to your goals. Those are the 4 essential skill sets of weight loss. And inside each of those is a good handful of tools and skills that will help you do the work. So we've discussed some of them and we've touched on others. So today, before we move on from this layer of practical wisdom, I want to explore each skill set one more time. We'll review some tools and introduce a couple new ones. This is not by any means a comprehensive list of tools and skills because I am not that smart, and we also know that we are learning all the time. So hopefully our toolkit, as I have mentioned, is an ever-growing library of knowledge that you can apply to this area of your life and everywhere else. But my goal for you in any moment of your life is to be able to stop and connect with who you are, to feel that, to get a clear view of the situation, make a quick little plan or a big plan if you're sitting down making a plan, but just make a quick little plan for yourself in any moment that will work for you, and then set your doer free to just move you along the way. So these tools and skills inside these 4 skill sets are designed to help you do just that. Let's start with thinking clearly. The focus here is fixing distorted thinking so that you can see clearly and make real good decisions for yourself. Here is our first tool for thinking clearly today. We're going to start with the bug detector because it is my favorite. It's like a wide net, right? But still, it is so effective. You can catch thoughts anytime like, I need something right now, or I can't stick with anything, or this is too hard today. Those are all little mental glitches that are preventing you from seeing what's really going on. We have thoughts like this all the time, and they feel true. They're not usually loud or dramatic thoughts. They're quick, they're subtle, and they flash through your mind like lightning. I need one of those brownies right now. I really want one of those brownies right now. I'll tell you one I had yesterday. If I can just get through this shift, I can go get French fries. Seriously. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it and it's a bad thing, but let's at least investigate and see what's going on. And I did get French fries and they were delicious. And I didn't feel bad about them. I would have liked them to be a little more intentional, but I did work them into my day and it ended up being just fine. All of these thoughts are believable and they even sound like you, but it is not necessary to follow all of them. Truly, they are just patterns. They're only patterns. And when you don't see them, you don't question them, and you don't change them, they run the show. But when you do see them, you know that you can change them. Yesterday, a little bit more reflection with my French fry decision would have been good. But I did do a lot better than I have in the past. Okay, why does this all matter for weight loss? Because if you believe the thought and you act on it without pause, without question, without reflection, it just keeps the cycle going. So if you can detect a bug, break the pattern, you can create a new path forward, a new path that may not be as hard as you think. There will be some discomfort, there will be some resistance, but you can pick something appealing and possible for you that includes some discomfort that you can totally handle. So the goal is to spot the bug, break the pattern, and create a path forward for your doer. Okay, tool number 2 in your thinking clearly skill set, fact versus story. We need to separate what actually happened versus what we're making it mean. I ate more than I planned is a fact. I got French fries after work is a fact. We can make those things mean so much about ourselves that they don't have to. Like, I have no control. I did it again. I ruined my day. Okay, lots of times when we start making things mean more than they do, that's when shame creeps in. We're going to do a whole chunk of content on shame. At the very least, shame just leads to more eating and perpetuates whatever cycle we're in. But shame can also become a paralyzing emotion. Tool number 3 in thinking clearly is reframing. Reframing something gives you instant clarity. It is the best tool. When you make a mistake or you find a buggy thought, don't just try to ignore it or step over it or around it. Reframe it for instant clarity, okay? You replace the thought with something useful. You're going to instantly clear your distorted lens. And remember that when you get that clarity, it gives you instant hope, direction, and a desire to move forward. If you reframe something that you've been thinking for a little while or even for a long time, and you can all of a sudden see it differently, there is like a lightness that happens inside you. You're like, oh, I didn't think of it that way. So here are 2 like little mini reframes, okay? And then we'll do some bigger ones. First, I can pause. Tell yourself, I can pause. In anything, in eating, in a moment, anytime. You tell yourself you have the ability to pause, take a beat, and step outside of the situation for a moment. You don't have to live as you have always done, responding and reacting to your situation and your surroundings as you always have. You can pause and reflect for a moment. That is a great reframe. Another little reframe that I use, and I actually used with those French fries yesterday, is that one choice doesn't define where I'm going. It truly doesn't. I used to make one choice mean so much. I took the heavy out of it. I'm trying to still do that, taking the heavy out of it and just seeing it as a choice, as something I did, and I will move on from there. That moment after the choice is really important to keep clear so that you make sure that you're moving forward after it in a good direction. Okay, here's a bigger reframe, and we touched on it last week or the week before, where the thought that we may have is, I can't stop. I can't stop eating even though my body's full. Well, here's a good reframe. I can stop. I'm just in a moment where I don't want to yet. I don't want to, but it doesn't mean I can't. Okay, what this does is it separates your ability from your desire. That's a huge shift in clarity. And it removes the drama of I can't and replaces it with something honest and workable. It puts you back in that position of choice. Remember, we want to be an agent of choice in a situation, not an object to be acted upon by a situation. Okay, now let's take that reframe one more little step. My body feels done, but I'm feeling the urge to keep going, and I know that that will pass if I don't act on it. That is a huge reframe, and that is the truth. that is clarity, and you can feel how much lighter that thought feels than I don't want to stop eating. I just want to keep going. I can't stop. That thought clearly distinguishes your body that is full versus your mind that wants you to keep going because it's comforting. Remember, your brain needs intentional direction, and a good reframe keeps you moving forward instead of spinning and staying and feeling stuck. Last tool in the thinking clearly skill set for today, okay? Let's talk about our language choice. How different does it feel to say, I can't have pizza or I can't have chocolate chip cookies right now versus saying, I'm choosing the foods that I want to be in my body right now. I can have cake. I can have chocolate chip cookies. I can have whatever I want. But I'm going to make the choice. It's my choice to eat what is going to help me get closer to my goals. When you use the words I can't all the time about certain foods, that is just going to trigger feelings of deprivation. And we all know where that can ultimately lead. So our words matter. Let's be conscientious and intentional with them to help manage our thoughts and our feelings about what we're doing. Next skill set is seeing clearly. And this is all about awareness, noticing the moment, stepping out of the moment, and seeing it clearly. Okay, a great tool for seeing clearly and being aware is a hunger scale. Something we'll get to in our next layer of body connection. Something we'll learn is that when you start eating, when you decide to eat, should always be a body decision, not a mind decision. So we'll use a hunger scale to help us make that decision and change the way we eat so that we can become a natural eater. Pattern awareness is a fantastic tool. So much of our behavior is just patterns, but then we attribute it to who we are and what we can or can't do. The patterns are so deep, so strong that it makes us feel like it's us, but it's not. It's just patterns and habits that have become obstructions on your path, rocks in your stream that you can change and move. So you'll start noticing your patterns and just know they are patterns. Remember, you can't change what you don't see. So once you can see it, then you can change it, and you can change patterns and habits. I know that feels so hard. Patterns and habits are what have made me feel so stuck. I felt like a prisoner inside them before. But if we can reframe that, we can see that patterns and habits actually make us really predictable, and they make our weight gain really predictable. And that means that they are changeable. So they're a great place to start. And you can shift the control to yourself instead of what you have always done. Okay, we talked about a little reframing tool of pausing. I can pause. Once we pause, then we can observe. So pausing and observing is another tool in the skill set of seeing clearly or being aware. So you can ask anytime before you act, what's going on right now? What's happening? Why do I want French fries so badly? Okay, and we leave the judgment out. We're just curious. We're just asking. We just want to be aware. And this is where you shift from just reacting and responding to your life and your circumstances to responding with intention and making a choice. Okay, when you pause and observe, you can then move on to this next skill, which is separating yourself from the moment. Instead of being inside the urge, or instead of being inside the moment of loading your plate up at a party or whatever it looks like, you can step outside of it and notice. I'm noticing that I want to eat a lot right now. Okay, you are not the moment. You are the one observing it. That is awareness. When you're inside the moment, it feels urgent and intense and commanding and automatic. Outside the moment, it feels more visible. It's understandable. You can see why you're making those same choices, but it's manageable and you know that you don't have to. Okay, outside the moment, but inside the real present moment is where change happens. And I mentioned dropping the judgment. Another skill is neutral observation. Not I should or I shouldn't be doing this. We're not going to should all over ourselves, okay? It's the best phrase I ever heard from a friend. I loved it so much. We're going to tell ourselves this is what's happening and here's what I can do next. Should is a really crappy word that has minimal use in the English language, I believe. Skill set number 3 is responding intentionally. And I would have liked to emphasize the point earlier in our episodes, but I'll just do it now, that responding intentionally often implies making a choice. Okay, you respond intentionally mentally and you make that choice. The first tool I'm going to mention is our foolproof weight loss plan. Remember that? The connect, check, and go. You connect, you pause, you check, what do I need right now? And then you go. You choose on purpose and you go. Connect, check, and go is an awesome tool to help you respond with intention in any situation. Number 2 is urge surfing. We're just going to surf them until they ultimately ride out. It does not feel good. It doesn't. It feels painful almost, but it does get better. And then there'll be a moment where you're like, oh yeah, I didn't even remember I was feeling that 4 minutes ago. So they are not commanding in your life. They just feel like it. So we're going to surf urges. They feel permanent, but they're not. If you don't act on them, they will fade. And that helps us put a delay in before we decide, like, I can have this, but I'm going to wait 5 minutes to see if I really want it. Just like our friend Bria did when she closed the pantry door and said, I'm going to go lie down in bed. If I still want chocolate in 10 minutes, I can come have it. That is such a different behavior than just responding to that impulse in the back of your lower brain and in your chest and putting something in your mouth to make the intense desire go away. We are going to learn so much about meeting your needs. I can't wait to involve my sister in this in our layer of emotional intelligence. We're going to match the need. Okay, that's another skill. We're going to ask, what do I actually need? And then we're going to meet that need without food, and we're going to see how it changes your life. If it's stress, you need release. If it's sadness, you need real comfort. Meeting those needs are going to help you move. When you meet the real need, those urges decrease and your progress rolls out naturally, moving you forward on your weight loss path. And that is our last skill set, is the moving forward, the action, taking real consistent action. And this is where the weight loss actually happens, okay? Now, the first tool again here is that appealing and possible plan. We've talked all about this. Your plan must feel doable. It needs to feel sustainable, and it can't be miserable. Remember, if you feel like you can do it and you want to do it, you're going to do it. So that is how we move ourselves forward. And remember, there is going to be discomfort in that choice, but that's okay. You can handle it. Appealing and possible plan that moves you through some discomfort. That is the golden ticket right there. When you make that plan and you've decided to move forward with it, it needs to settle in your body and in your mind and in your heart. You need to not feel resistance from your subconscious in it. That's how you know that it's really going to work for you. Okay, another great tool in the skill set of moving forward is adjust, not abandon. Okay, if something isn't working, it doesn't mean you quit. You refine it until it does. You just adjust it. You just tweak your plan a little bit. We're not in the business of all or nothing or perfection or of starting over all the time, okay? We're going to succeed because we just adapt and move through it. Another quick little tool, a little question you can ask yourself is, what's going to move me forward right now? What's one thing that will move me forward right now? That's going to remove perfection from your thinking, and it's going to build a little bit of confidence and momentum. And then when you do those little things, don't forget about them. We're going to track and celebrate the wins that we've had, the good choices that we've made, and the progress that we've seen. We're going to build evidence of what you're doing right. It's so easy to think about the mistakes we've made, but what good did you do? Where did you follow through? We're going to build belief in ourselves that drives consistency and momentum, which is what gives us results. Okay, our last tool in our moving forward skill set is that best question ever. I love it so much. Will it be good to have done? It brings instant clarity and it calms emotions so that you can make a good choice. If it will be good to have done, if you can look into the future and see the value that will happen because of you making that choice, it's time for you to make that choice. Best question ever. Now here's a last little power thought for you in terms of moving forward. you can always always remind yourself, I am someone who will figure this out. I may not have figured it out yet, but I'm going to, and I will always find a good next move. I will always find a good little next move. Baby steps count. 100% they count. They shift your trajectory way more than you think they will. Okay, the purpose of this toolkit is not to be overwhelming, not complicated, but to be always open and always helpful. And I am so excited for us to spend more time together, to experience more, to explore more scenarios, and to get to know Bria better so that we can reach in and out of our toolkit at will all the time. We'll look at a situation and be like, okay, well, we're not thinking clearly right now. Grab a tool. Or we'll just notice that we're stuck somewhere and we can ask ourselves, why am I stuck? What am I not thinking or seeing or choosing? You can go back to your toolkit and pick any area as a starting point. Every place you struggle, anywhere you are having a hard time or feeling stuck, can be directly traced back to one of those 4 skill sets. Remember that. Just ask yourself, am I thinking clearly? Am I seeing clearly? Am I responding intentionally, making a choice? And am I moving forward? And then you use a tool and build a skill, which will become who you are. Time for some final thoughts. This is our foundation, my friends. It's not perfect. It's not perfectly comprehensive, but that's okay. We're going to be working on it and relying on it together for a long, long time. And it will substantiate itself. It will intertwine. It will grow. And something I personally need to work on to help build and strengthen my foundation is a healthier, more trusting, more symbiotic relationship with my body. And of course, I learned what symbiotic relationship means from Wildcrats because I have sweet boys who love it so much. Even though they're big now, they still love it. Next week, we are going to begin building that healthy relationship with your body. We're going to learn what it means to become a natural eater inside your mind, your body, and your heart. And then we're going to become one. Hello, body connection. Think about these tools and just tuck them into your toolkit. We will most definitely be reaching into that toolkit every week. I love you, my darling. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Until next time.